Hello, young girls. Wish you all a very happy International Day of Girls. My name is Dr. Uzma, and I'm a human rights activist working to empower and strengthen young people, specifically females, and to uplift them. I also work to promote peace, counter violent extremism, and strengthen democratic good governance. International Day of Girl is celebrated to recognize rights and the unique challenges girls faced across the globe, to promote the empowerment of young girls everywhere while also advocating for the attainment of their basic human rights like education, health, bodily autonomy, and also to celebrate girls everywhere as they inspire, they break boundaries, and take charge of their own future. Here, I would like to take a moment to thank Ananke for organizing this talk between us, and where we are able to reach out to you and discuss the issues and help you in finding your true voice and the true metal you're made of. Let me take you back in history, 1995. Most of you girls were not even born then. Some 30,000 females and male from nearly 200 countries arrived in Beijing, China, for the Fourth World Conference on Women, determined to recognize women's rights as human rights. The conference made history for the women's rights agenda, culminated in adoption of Beijing Declaration and Platform for Action, the most comprehensive policy agenda for gender equality. And if you would like to have a look on that, I will share the link on the fire chat in the links, and you can also Google about it. Since the time changed, world changed, the issues changed as well. Many of the commitments were fulfilled and many of them were left unfulfilled. Each year, 12 million girls under age of 18 are married. 130 million girls worldwide are still out of school, and approximately 15 million adults and girls aged between 15 to 19 have experienced forced sex. They are trafficked, they are in drug dealings, they are forced for child marriages, they are facing domestic violence, they are facing acid attacks. The more than 1.1 billion girls in the world have had enough. Issues were there, issues will be there, and issues are still here. What we can do is to raise awareness among masses, giving more voices to young people, the boys and the girls. That is one thing. What more can we do? We also can make sure that somebody is listening to us, to our voices, so that they can solve the issues. What more? Most of us have also experienced that when you raise voices, we have observed that the institutions of government do not respond to the input from young people, especially women, at any time other than during elections. The key question is, how democratic and participatory are the processes when women and youth are practically excluded from the decision making? Youth and women makes a large part of every country, yet they remain largely absent from that decision making or are underrepresented in that political decision making process. Today's young people are the owner of the future and will be the leaders of tomorrow. It is therefore imperative that they develop a feeling of ownership through meaningful participation in democratic processes. Now, this is the field that is left so far. You go ahead and take a look in your country and get the numbers and ratios, like how many young people are there, how many females are there in the decision-making process, how many females are in the parliament, what political parties having what number of females, and you will then realize that how underrepresented we are in that scenario. Achieving meaningful participation of young people in democratic governance and decision-making process is therefore a key challenge. What we can do is to be a part of that solution-making now, to make government see that you exist, that you need to be a part of that system. To change, Be a part of it. Staying out of circle, criticizing the government like you don't hear us, we are making policies, we are the social activists, make us count, we are making this bill, we are helping you out, we are raising this issue. That's another thing. But why not be a part of that position? Why not be in that driving seat? Why not be the movers instead of the shakers on the ground? Be in that position. So you are connected to those activists, you are connected to the grassroots, you are connected to that issue. So when those issues are being raised, you are the person in charge who can make the policy, who can make the government work, who can make you people count. You yourself can support other people like you. Because senior politicians and political leaders or policy makers, bureaucrats out there in the countries, they won't let you do that. They won't let you come forward. They will always see you as a young child who cannot decide for their future. They see us as too young to run for the office. And that is why we have campaigns like not too young to run for the office. Time is to jump in. Time is to jump in for girls, for young people. Time is to bring your own chair in the decision-making table. Make sure what you want is included on the agenda. Lobby for it, campaign for it. Include more young people with you because it's about our present and our future and their future as well. Together, we need to empower women to overcome the barriers to their equal and active political participation. These barriers are present at the individual, institutional, socio-political, cultural platforms. For example, at individual level, women who are actually equally qualified as men talk themselves out of running for office. At the institutional level, political organizations like parties and legislatures remain unwelcoming to female colleagues. At the socio-cultural level, the representation by media of women in leadership still tend to focus on what they wear, their marital status, or their voices, as opposed to their policy positions or competence. Here, I would like to quote a personal observation from my country. I belong to Pakistan, where two major political parties have one female political leader and one very young, intellectual, educated male who is leading that party, and both are facing criticism. Now, they are being judged not on their political beliefs, not on their competency, not on their dialogue, not on their leadership skills, but their age and their gender. The female is criticized on what she was wearing, how much that cost, what was the sandal, was it Chanel, was it Gucci, what surgery did she have to look so young. The young guy is very young. He was not even born then when the senior political leaders were doing politics. So he don't know nothing about the politics and he cannot lead a political party. Now this is the time to change the face of this old men politics. We used to say that we need to see an issue and make policies from a human perspective. But now we need to see it from a youth and women perspectives. More women, better politics, or better politics, more women. Risk-taking young women are now expected to come and take the lead in this field because we can raise as much awareness over issues. But the last thing is decision-making and implementation on policies, and we need to be there too. We need to be in that room where decision-making is being done, where policies are being made. We are in a world where we have to fight day and night to make our own space and then prove to be worthy of that place. Nobody asks senior politician how you became one leader, but to us, we have to prove our worth at every step, every day, everywhere. We do it for young girls and boys coming after us. We are doing this for them. We have to prove, oh, we are qualified, we have experience, we have worked with this people, we are doing this, that. At every position, at every step you take, you have to prove your worth. And we keep on doing that with a smiling face because we are girls and we are supposed to do that. But to be in that position, to be in that room, to reinvent democracy, to reinvent the concept of democracy in your country, you have to take these steps. You will sacrifice, and then the people coming after you will be benefited by that. We are seeing so many young leaders in the world around us, and many of them are girls. We have to reinvent the concept of democracy by bringing them into the circle. We need to revolutionize where whenever we co-design the policies, we need young people. We just cannot exclude them. We need to raise voice. We need to be in that room or table, but actually co-design policies where we run for offices. The government leader must accept that this is the culture of future and the world is changing. How young people are changing the face of business in the world, how they are changing democracies in the world. You see, we have seen young people and female leaders in recent past where they're destroying traditional industries by simply having an idea. Why can't we welcome them in our government? Why can't we work with them? Why can't we bring in more young people, more women voices, and we see the issues and perspective from that position? How much does that cost? How much will it affect the men's world? But it will benefit us, the females, right? So you, being an activist, my dear girls, whoever is listening to me, wherever you are, just try to dig out the history of your country and try to find out the numbers and see how many girls are there, how many young girls are there, how many females are there, how many aged females were there, in which party the ratio is more, where is less, and then try to work out on that numbers. Try to bring in more girls for you, or if not more girls, because some are the countries where girls are not supposed to go outside, where girls are not supposed to work, like my country. It's a mix for people. So you people have to be the voice. You people have to be the initiators. You people have to be in front lead. Historically, the very design of democracy and representation excluded women. Today, representative democracy presented as an ideal includes women, but unfortunately, practice does no honor to this ideal. The value of political equality is central to normative theories of democracy. It is argued that women are equal citizens and therefore they should share equally with men in public decision making, otherwise there is a democracy deficit. By contrast, empirical theories define democracy by presence of institutions such as freedom to form and join organizations, freedom of expression, the right to vote in elections and to stand for public office, the right for political leaders to compete for support and vote, freedom of information and availability of alternate source of information, free and fair elections. Empirical democracy is basically a much more complex concept that encompasses a range of practical realities, including cultural, socioeconomic, and political factors. For example, how can democracy work if the population lack the resources to satisfy its basic needs in health and education? How can democracy work when the majority of the people live in poverty? How can democracy work without freedom of the press and rights of association? How can democracy work where the dominant religion prescribes that a wife must obey her husband? In sum, how can democracy delivers its virtues when the cultural, socioeconomic, and political contexts are hostile to very principle of gender equality? It is this multifaceted understanding of empirical democracy that is used in order to advance understanding of the descriptive representation of women in national parliaments. Recently, we saw examples of countries fighting with COVID-19, the countries that achieved positive quarantine results, less death ratios were led by whom? Young female representatives, right? So people think a strong leader is one who conforms to the swaggering ideals of masculinity. That has often created difficulties for women in politics. There is an expectation that leaders should be aggressive, forward, and domineering. But if women demonstrate those traits, then they are seen as unfeminine, that make it more difficult for women to thrive as leaders. Now, I want you all listening to me right now is to start taking interest in strengthening democracy in your country, because each time a woman stand up for herself unknowingly, stand for all the females around her. Be a part of structured dialogues, give suggestions, comments on policies being made, be a voice on social media, because it costs you nothing, you know. You can raise awareness, you can be a voice, and you can do whatever you can to uplift females in your country and bring in more young people, bring in more democratic voices in your government, where the decisions are being made for you people. Read and write about your country and its political history. Rise as a young leader in your community. Use every tool to strengthen youth and women participation in democratic process. And I hope to see you shining brightly very soon. You can always get in contact with me for guidance or for any issue. I will always be there for you. Thank you so much for your time and hope to see you soon.